Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're cracking open a playbook that's not for the faint of heart. It's from entrepreneur Patrick Bet-David, and it's all about how to turn the next big economic crisis into, well, the opportunity of a lifetime.
So let's start with this pretty intense prediction. Patrick Bet-David, a guy who literally built a $200 million fortune during downturns, is saying what we're feeling now, that's just the tremor before the real earthquake. He believes a massive storm is coming and that almost everyone, 90% of people, are just walking into it completely blind.
Now here's the twist. He says for the 10% who are prepared, this isn't a time to be scared. It's time for action. You see, while most people see a disaster, this playbook is about seeing something else entirely. A massive, once-in-a-generation sale on the world's best assets. And it's about getting yourself ready to go shopping. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the warning signs that a crisis is, in fact, coming. Then, we'll get clear on the difference between a recession and a market crash. After that, we'll dive into why a crash can actually be a good thing. Then comes the good stuff, the playbook itself. And finally, we'll talk about the ultimate goal here, chasing your next zero. Okay, first things first. Let's look at the writing on the wall. These aren't just feelings or opinions. These are the cold, hard numbers that show some major cracks are starting to form in the system. And just look at the companies getting hammered here. We're not talking about weak, failing businesses. We're talking about the titans, Meta, Netflix, Tesla, all seeing their values get slashed by massive amounts. I mean, look at those numbers. This is way more than just a little dip. It's a huge signal that the market is fundamentally shifting. And this, right here, this is the squeeze every single one of us is feeling. You don't need a PhD in economics to get this. Gas is up almost 50%. Rent is up over 20%. But our paychecks? They're not even close to keeping up. That massive gap between the cost of living and what we earn, well, that's just not sustainable. It's a textbook sign that a downturn is on the horizon. Okay, to really play this game right, you've got to know the battlefield. You need to understand the language everyone's throwing around. Recession and market crash. They sound kind of the same, but trust me, knowing the difference is absolutely critical to your strategy. So here's the simplest way to think about it. A market crash is the lightning strike. It's sudden, it's violent, and it's driven by pure panic. It happens fast. But a recession, that's the long, slow-moving storm that comes after. It's the months, sometimes years, of job losses and a grinding slowdown in the whole economy. One is the event, the other is the fall. All right, now we get to the core idea of this whole playbook. This is where we flip the script. We're going to reframe the crash, not as the end of the world, but as a necessary new beginning. This is where you learn to turn fear into pure opportunity. I want you to think about a downturn like a forest fire. Yeah, it looks like total destruction at first. But what does a fire really do? It's a cleansing event. It burns away all the dead, inefficient, overgrown parts of the forest, making room for new, healthy life. It creates fertile ground for those who are ready to plant something new. And what exactly grows after that fire? Well, the whole landscape changes. Your weak competitors? Gone. That 8+ team you could never afford to hire? They're suddenly looking for work. Stocks, businesses, real estate, you name it. Everything goes on a massive discount. This is the exact environment where legends are made. Think about it. GE, Microsoft, Uber, Airbnb, all of them were born in a downturn. And if you look back at history, you'll see this isn't a fluke. These events aren't some black swan anomaly. They're cyclical. They happen over and over again. From the Great Depression to the dot-com bust to the 2008 crisis, we've seen this movie before. And you know what? It's going to happen again. History gives us the map. The data absolutely proves it. Look at this. While the pain of a crash feels like it lasts forever, it's actually pretty short. But the good times, the periods of growth and prosperity that always follow, are dramatically longer, lasting for years and years. If you can just survive the short-term storm, you position yourself perfectly for the long-term boom. Okay, enough theory. Let's get our hands dirty. Now we're diving into the actual actionable steps from the playbook. And it's a two-phase plan, what you need to do before the crash hits and what you do during the chaos. All right, phase 1. This is all about preparation. Rule number 1, and this is the big one, stack cash. Cash becomes your superpower. It gives you the power to play offense when everyone else is stuck on defense. While you're doing that, make yourself absolutely essential at your job. And that big purchase you were thinking about, a house, a car, hold off. And most importantly, have a plan. Know exactly which assets you're going to target when the big sale begins. Now, for phase 2, this is game time. When the panic is in the streets, you execute. You take that cash you saved and you buy the assets you've been watching. You lean on your network of smart people because you can't see all the angles alone. And here's the key. You have to act fast. While everyone else is frozen in fear, your preparation allows you to move with speed and conviction.
Let me give you a real-world example of this in action. During a downturn, Bet David found a seller who was panicking. This guy owned 2 incredibly rare baseball cards, and he needed cash fast. PBD saw the opportunity and bought them for $540,000.
And then he just held on. He didn't do anything. He just waited for the market to calm down, for the fear to pass. And it only took 13 months.
He sold those exact same cards for, get this, $2.1 million. That's a profit of over $1.5 million, a nearly 4x return. It's the perfect example of using cash and a clear head to capitalize on someone else's panic.
So, what's all this for? Why go through all this trouble to prepare and act? Well, it's about more than just a good investment. It's about fundamentally changing your financial reality forever.
This right here is the ultimate prize. This isn't about surviving or just getting a little bit ahead. The goal is to chase your next zero. It's about adding a zero to your net worth. And a major crisis, it's the single best accelerator, the slingshot for making that happen. And look, this idea works no matter where you're starting from. If you've got $10,000 saved up, the mission is to turn it into $100,000. If you're at $100K, you're shooting for your first million. A market downturn is one of the only times where you get the kind of leverage you need to make these incredible 10x jumps. It's almost impossible in a normal, stable economy. So at the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to. Preparation is what turns you from a spectator watching your portfolio get crushed into a player on the field. The chaos that's coming isn't something to run from, it's an invitation to get in the game. The choices you make in the next 24 months could define the rest of your life. The only question left is, are you ready?